Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Sunday, August 13th. The year's 2023. Let's talk trading, weekly open and gap. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Also, let's just remember as we go into the second trading week here in August to always have our risk management in place. Never lose more on any one single trade than you are willing to lose. Taking a look at the weekly, we can see we've gapped down. We filled the gap on the pound, but we still have 1, 2, 3 pairs that have not filled the gap. We're 23 pips or so below the weekly open, 3 off the low, 32 off the high. We'll zoom out to the monthly, where we're 165 pips below the monthly open. We are 172 off the high, 49 off the low, and as you can see, we are just slightly below last month's lower wick zone. We're putting in the opening range for the week. We are 72 pips below the opening range for the month. 580 pips above the yearly open, 472 off the high, 867 off the low. Notice we've done about a 22% plus retrace off of that monthly low. Inside bar action, we've got a handful across the board here. We are in the inside bar of last week. We had last week's low was 126.65, and if we break that, we could be off to the races. And we're below the inside bar that happened 3 days ago. And we're still above the monthly inside bar that happened 6 months ago. So once again, just some horizontal lines for you to be aware of. Oh, we've got 3 pairs, 100 pips or better, and we're only 5.5 hours into the trading day. And the pound's sitting at 35 pips. But note, the pound Aussie, pound New Zealand, and Euro New Zealand have all made moves. You can see we're below that weekly open once again, right through the sell zone here. Would have been a nice trade if you had the patience. Could have been short at 81, and we're now sitting at 68. And the range is too low for the rats. Bambino flex indicators indicating a short. Pivot trading plan says price near the pivot is short. Price near S1 is long. On the daily, we have not taken out today's pivot. Came close. We came within 2 points. Weekly, we haven't missed. We missed by 27, so no weekly. And the monthly, we missed by 37, but we're far below it. We're actually 208 pips below the monthly pivot. And just looking here to see if there's any H4 pivots to target. And you've got, see, right now we have one at the downside, 125.26, to the upside, 128.43. We are in Friday's daily lower wick zone. Remember, price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. I'm thinking we might have a big break to the downside. And if you didn't tune in on Friday, it's a pretty bad week as far as range goes on the pound. High minus low was only 153 pips. So we did not really move the needle. Okay, looking at some of our trading screens, price action simple screen here. Just looking at some horizontal lines. See, we broke through the previous H1 low in the last 30-minute candle. We just put in a new 30-minute candle about 7 minutes ago. It's coming back. You can see though, we're not setting any records here with the range on these candles. But if this is the time you trade, you can still make a couple of pips or more. And trading off of that, the lower high here, you can see we broke it. We came back and tested it, basically filled any imbalance. Now moved up, saw a 2-ball. We didn't move the needle at all. We mentioned that earlier. So now, let's see, price is inside the lower wick zone on the monthly, inside the lower wick zone on the weekly, inside the lower wick zone on the daily. So those wick zones, price doesn't like staying in those wick zones. So if you're looking for a trade, you might want to keep track of those. Now, let's see. Something we're going to explore this week, I think Walmart should be back. And it's something that we've touched on before, is that in order to improve at anything, trading, your whatever job skills you need, whatever social skills you need, if you play guitar, if you build model airplanes, it doesn't matter. If you want to improve, you are going to have to change something. Because if you keep the same, you're not going to improve. And I read something and it kind of hit home. Sometimes people think if you work harder, you just put in extra effort, you're going to improve. And you might, but usually that's only going to be slightly. Usually there's some other change you might have to make that's going to really make a big difference. So in trading, if you're struggling, there's either A, something that you're not doing that you need to be doing, or B, something that you're doing that you need to stop doing. It really boils down to those two things. Let me know if you can think of a third thing, because I sure can't. And sometimes life gets kind of binary. People always go, oh, it's not black and white, it's shades of gray. It depends on what you're looking at, I think. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And then I was listening to a video when they broke out an Alan Watts quote, which I really like some of the things Alan Watts wrote. Very entertaining. But they were saying how, about life, you just have to live. I mean, you don't have to do anything, accomplish anything. Life is just, the meaning of life is just to live. So, but that's kind of getting away from trading. The point I'm trying to make is, or the point I have made, is if you want to improve your trading, something you're doing or not doing, it has to change. Whether it's your pre-trade routine, what you do before you get in a trade, okay? And once you're in the trade, maybe it's something you do while you're in the trade. Maybe it's something you do after you exit the trade. A lot of times that self-talk is self-defeating, in that if just because you have a losing trade doesn't mean you did anything wrong. That's just the luck of the draw sometimes, the market. And maybe You might be having a confirmation bias problem. Because I know that's one of the things that gets me in trouble from time to time. I might be looking for a long, and I just look for something to tell me to go long. When maybe if I took a step back, zoomed out, it would say, you know what you need to be doing is going short. And it's real easy to get caught up in that. So, if you have a trading plan, you need to just reread the plan. Maybe that's what you do when you're not actually clicking the mouse. The one thing about, Walmart and I, usually we're in to try and be in the trade just for a few seconds or a minute or two at the most if things are going our way. But we've got our hand right there. We're focused on the price movement. But after we get out of the trade, maybe you pick up a 3x5 card, or you open your notebook and you just go over everything. And if you happen to miss a trade while you're going over it, that's okay, because there will be another trade. I mean, we've proven that year after year after year. It's not like we're sitting around looking at one of these pairs and going, "Oh, I wish a trade would come up. I wish there was a trade opportunity." It's just like almost I would say at least every hour there's a trade opportunity. Every half hour, every 15 minutes, every 5 minutes, every 1 minute, there is a trade opportunity. Just depends on where you want to take your signals. So let me know if you're struggling, what you think you need to change. And if you're profitable on a regular recurring basis, let the traders know what you changed that made the difference. What I always like to call the difference that makes the difference. Something I always look for is that difference that makes the difference. Because sometimes it's really minor, sometimes it's really major. And sometimes it's so obvious you don't even see it. Take somebody else to point it out, and then you just kind of smack your head. So, fellow traders, I hope you all had a fun and safe weekend. And so, definitely get back to me. I want some feedback. Oh, and by the way, welcome to the 50th member of the Reddit group. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. I forgot to say anything about it. So if you're on the Never Lose Again Reddit thread, hello. Thanks for joining that. And let me know if you have any questions. And I know there was a question about an indicator, but sometimes when you guys ask me questions, if you don't put a timestamp or something so I know what you're talking about, I don't know what you're talking about. Can't read minds. So, fellow traders, when you come back to sit down and trade, or maybe you stand up and trade, doesn't matter, because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.